So, Chill just realized that he has to turn the on button for us to be able to record. He's sitting there giving me the go ahead signs, and I look down at the camera to look for the red light that lets us know that we're recording, and it's not there. And I'm just like, you gotta turn the camera on first. But, alright. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. Today we will be discussing, as you can clearly tell, the intro to my Soul Eater series. Now, I'll bet you're wondering about that pesky hint that I gave you at the end of last series. To consume a type of music. So another word for consume is eat, and soul is a type of music. Flip the two around, and you have soul eat, add ER to make it like a person doing it, Soul Eater. It's pretty simple. Although I can see how it would be kind of difficult if you didn't know that Soul Eater was going to be the next series already. Like hints are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we jump right into it, I want to clarify that I'm not breaking down a character in this episode. I also want to clarify, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. If you have not seen the Netflix show, Soul Eater, this probably won't make any sense at all. So I would recommend going and doing that first.
Yeah.
I also don't know if there is some sort of manga or book or anything else based on Soul Eater, so I'm clarifying now that we are using the Netflix show as our base point. So there might be things in the show that weren't in another work, or things in another work that weren't in the show. And even then, I didn't have the ability to kind of recreate everything that happened in the show, just for time basis, honestly. That brings me to my next point. This is the first show that I've had to do this with, but this is kind of what I was planning to do all along. I just wanted to ease into it, and this has actually been a really simple one to ease into, comparatively. I could not take the abilities that were in Soul Eater and find an exact pre-written, pre-made, original game equivalent. So, I have created what I have called the Meister Subclass. So, yeah, let's jump right into it, shall we? Starting at level 3, when you take this subclass, you gain the ability to soul resonate with your weapon partner. It's important to note now that for the sake of the subclass, and for the sake of these breakdowns, we are assuming that the weapon partner is always in weapon form, as these subclasses kind of depend mainly on combat. Like, that's when they're mostly useful. So I'm assuming there that your weapon partner is always in weapon form. And I'm assuming that you, the player, or the DM playing a character, is a Meister, not a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, when you take this subclass at level 3, you gain the ability to telepathically communicate with your weapon partner, as well as the ability for your attacks to become magical for the sake of overcoming resistances. Assuming you're not using magical weapons in the playthrough that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, DMs can take that magic resistance thing and pluck it and re-put it in at level 6, which is the conventional level for magic resistances. As far as I know, that's usually when, I know that's when Monk gets it. Like, your punches become magical for the sake of overcoming resistances. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just generally about the level that they get that. Again, that's only applicable, really, if you're not using magical weapons in your campaign. Or, if you're doing a completely Soul Eater subclass-based thing, very few enemies would have magical resistance, or non-magic resistance, so it kind of doesn't really matter, but it does for the few enemies that you'll be fighting that do. Then, at level 3, when you get this, you gain an extra 1d8 damage when you resonate with your partner. Now, in order to resonate with your partner, you spend the entire turn, right? So that means actions, bonus actions, and movement. Technically not reactions, but actions, bonus actions, and movement are expended. And then at the beginning of your next turn, you are resonated with your partner, and you gain the extra d8's worth of damage. As well as the magical attacks. This scales with your level. the damage. At level 10, it becomes 2d8, correct?
Yeah.
And at level 15, it becomes 3d8. Cool. Did I miss anything in that first paragraph? Oh, I did.
That it lasts for 10 turns, or 1 minute.
Okay, so the limitation. Yes. When you resonate with your partner, it lasts for a minute. In case you couldn't hear Chill, although I expect you could. We've gotten really good at, bouncing our sound off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next section? There's a little bit more there. Down below.
Also gain a choice for the ability list.
Okay, so you go through with your abilities. Yes, at 3rd level, you gain a choice from the ability list. I'll be covering that here in a second. Kind of going through what the abilities are. Not necessarily what they do, as I don't think I will have time in this episode. What are we at?
5, 6.
Okay, yeah, I won't have time, unfortunately. But, yes. You gain one choice at level 3, you gain another at, I believe, level 5, correct?
7.
Okay, it jumps to 7. 7, 10, 15, and then 18.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe there are 5 total that you can have. Quick maths. 3, 7, 10, 15, 18. Yeah, 5. Your DM might limit that. I don't know. I know for a fact, though, not all of the characters in the show will have all 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, I can already think of the limitation for someone like Maka. She will not have all 5 used. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with her yet. I have a couple of ideas in my head for how I would recreate her. You've got a couple options there. We'll get there in the next episode. Yeah. So you gain a choice from the ability list. I'll be covering that here in a second. Kind of. What is it? At level 10, they gain the ability to soul resonate with different Meisters?
Yep.
Yeah. So when you do that, you spend both of the Meister's turns soul resonating. To do that, you have to already be soul resonated with your own weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Important to note. It keeps the 1 minute duration. So there is that. But at the end of the second Meister's turn, so whichever one comes second in initiative, at the end of that Meister's turn, you are now soul resonated with the other Meister, and the damage increases by a dice level. So your 2d8 becomes 2d10.
Mm-hmm.
And your 3d8 becomes 3d10 at level 15. However, at level 15, you gain the ability to resonate with a third Meister. And again, it keeps the minute time limit, and your extra damage dice goes up by a dice class. Mm-hmm. So your d8s, instead of being d10s, they become d12s, if that makes sense. And you have to be level 15. However, it is important to note, you can only multi-resonate, as I'm going to call it, because I've got no other name for it, and this is as good as any other. You can only multi-resonate with other Meisters that have the ability to multi-resonate. So, technically speaking, all Meisters that are multi-resonating would have to be level 10 in the Meister Subclass. Cool. Is there anything else that I've missed thus far for the breakdown of the subclass?
Nope.
Aside from the abilities lists. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. My general thought for this, before I get into the different abilities, because this is kind of important, my assumption is that you're running a campaign, DMs, that are Soul Eater in D&D. Right? So I'm trying to balance some of these things to make it applicable into a normal D&D campaign where you have like one Meister and then a bunch of other normal D&D classes. However, it's really more balanced for everyone in your campaign being a Meister or Witch from Soul Eater. We'll get to the Witch subclass later. But yeah, as for the Meister abilities, that's why I made the distinction between magical and non-magical campaigns, because technically speaking, if you were doing a Soul Eater-based campaign, you wouldn't have magic items.
Yeah.
The only one you would have would be like Brew, but that's not a weapon that your Meisters can use. So, technically speaking, if you were doing a Soul Eater-based campaign, or a campaign based in the Soul Eater universe, there wouldn't be magical weapons. But, if you've only got one person that wants to be a Meister, I'm trying to keep it at least semi-balanced or give you different ideas for something based in the real the regular D&D universe. But that aside, the abilities. We're going to start with the basics. I'm just going to list them real quick. I don't know how many there are. See if you can keep track, Chill. Or count them if you'd like. But you've got Witch Hunter, Genie Hunter, and Kishin Hunter. How many did you count?
14.
14. Ooh, that's way more than I thought. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. You got Witch Hunter, Genie Hunter, Kishin Hunter. Then it went to multi-weapon. Then you have Death Cannon and Ultra Death Cannon. Then was Healing Wavelength, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And Superior Healing Wavelength. Then it went to the Chain Trap, correct? It went to Shadow Control and Sowing Touch. And then the last two are Scream Resonance and Loud Scream Resonance, correct?
Yep.
Did I miss any?
No.
Cool. I will be doing breakdowns of each of those abilities in the character breakdowns that they apply to. I did that, gonna be honest, to give you a reason to watch the character breakdowns. Because if I went through all of what they did here, there would be no reason to break down the characters because you could probably figure it out yourself.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, based on the names, you can probably already figure out which characters had what.
True.
So yeah, that, I believe, is all I have for you Find Adventures today. Is there anything that I missed?
No.
Cool. Alright. Be on the lookout for my next video, which will be on Maka. And technically Soul, but as I said, I'm not really going to break down the weapons. Wait, did I say that? We've done so many takes.
You did now.
I did now. I'm not going to break down Soul aside from what is needed in combat because this is a mainly combat-based campaign style. So, Soul will be in Maka's breakdown, but not as much as a normal... He won't be his own video because he's not a full character. But yes, be on the lookout for Maka. If you can't possibly wait until my next video, feel free to come check out my Discord or come hang out on Twitch. All links to my social media will be down in the description below. Other than that, I will catch you all later.